Hello listeners, this is Business Untied, podcast by Invest in Pomerania, and today we'll be talking about e-mobility, so everything that is considered a diverse approach towards a green energy. I'm very happy to welcome Robert Chryc-Gawrychowski from Northvolt and Mikołaj Truin from Invest in Pomerania. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
So, from the top, Robert, let's imagine the world when someone doesn't know what Northvolt is and what is going on at Northvolt Poland. It's been almost 3 or 4 years since the announcement of Northvolt 2, which is actually a very interesting name for a plant. So can you tell us a little bit more about the journey itself and where is Northvolt Poland now?
Yeah, sure, with pleasure. Good afternoon once again to all the audience and our listeners. First of all, Northvolt 2, the naming, the national numbering we are using for the sites where we have a scale of operation on a gigawatt hour scale. We are talking about the units of energy because Northvolt is a producer of the greenest lithium-ion batteries in the world, and we have multiple sites already globally. Northvolt at in Swedish means one is the first gigafactory where we produce lithium-ion cells together with the upstream process and also closing the loop with our own recycling process. So this is a first European homegrown gigafactory of producing lithium-ion cells. And here in Poland, we have started, in fact, 6 years ago, almost 6 years it will be, October 2018, when we have started with the small industrialization and manufacturing site for battery modules and energy storage solutions. But yes, I think it was 2020 when we have decided to expand our operations here in Poland, and then Northvolt 2, the new concept, the new factory which we have built in the port of Gdańsk area. So the factory which is the biggest European energy storage systems factory, and we just started our operations over there. Last year we finished the construction of 25,000 square meters facility, and this year we have started commercial production of our energy storage solutions for our customers. And when we are talking about the energy storage solution, maybe it's worth also to highlight that Northvolt is not only yet another tier 1 supplier of battery cells to, for example, automotive market. It's worth to say that we are kind of divided into the 3 different business units. So one is the cells production together with upstream. The second is battery systems and energy storage solutions dedicated for the grid scale application and for the industrial application. And the third one is recycling. So we are closing the loop. We are very, very strongly vertically integrated, and we are covering, all the supply chain and value chain when it comes to the batteries. And our aim is to deliver the greenest battery in the world. Kind of being this disruptive on the market, which before until 2016 has been dominated mostly by Asian players. So this is Northvolt, and Northvolt 2 in Gdańsk is a fantastic site focused not only on manufacturing but something more.
Well, it's a great thing that you mentioned the third party of the production circle, so recycling. It brings a huge amount of consideration all around the world, the recycling part of the battery production. So
Yes.
I think it's a great thing that you managed to focus on all of the 3 parties of the circle in one site, right? Because you do
That's
recycling
true.
here in Gdańsk.
No, in Gdańsk we are not doing recycling.
Okay,
we are doing recycling in Northvolt. In fact, we have the first recycling line we have established in Västerås in Sweden, 100 kilometers west from Stockholm. This is Northvolt Labs, the whole campus, R&D campus, when we are focusing on the early development of the cells, but also the recycling process. So we have deployed our first recycling line. It was 2020. And then we have more. So we have our own Northvolt Revolt at the biggest in the world, the facility that is right now, as we speak, currently, up and running. We are starting ramp up over there with the capabilities to recycle end-of-use batteries, e-feed batteries, and production waste coming from the cells production, because unfortunately, especially on the beginning, when you are ramping up your cells production, you have certain amount of scrap. So we just started this recycling facility up then with the capacity of processing 125,000 tons per year of end-of-use batteries and production wastes. So it is currently the biggest recycling facility for lithium-ion batteries, and the concept is really interesting because it gives us, it enables us to secure minimum 50% of those rare metals that we need for the production of the new fresh cells, lithium-ion cells, coming out from our own recycling process. So, when you take into consideration the chemistry, nickel, manganese, cobalt, we are going to withdraw, 50% of those needed metals for our production in 2030. And in 2030, we will have minimum 150 gigawatt hours of the capacity of new cells production globally. So basically, 50% we will secure from our own recycling process. And it's also, we are closing the loop, but also we are just kind of, disarm the myth that are very, very popular out there in the world, that people are afraid what we will do with those end-of-use batteries. So I have the answer for this. We will take these end-of-use batteries and we will convert them with the very high efficient process into the new fresh battery cells.
Yeah. And Robert, just like one question, do you recycle only your own products, or do you recycle also the batteries from other?
No, of course, there is no other our own end-of-use batteries, because we have just started. So probably in the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Because what's the life cycle of a battery?
This is a good question, frankly speaking, and I suppose that the answer maybe will not satisfy you, but it's not an easy answer, because if you are taking into consideration the application where those battery cells are used, for example, in automotive, in electric vehicle setup, it depends from many different factors. It depends on how do you use the battery, what is the temperature, what is the depth of discharge of the batteries, but on average we can say that for the electric vehicles applications we can talk about 10 plus years. For energy storage systems we can talk about 20 years even. So it's a long lifespan of the batteries. So I'm not expecting our own end-of-use batteries to enter our recycling process and soon, except this scrap.
Good news, right?
This is a good news.
This is a good news. Okay, so Mikołaj, where do we place the Northvolt investment on the investment map of Pomerania? Because the e-mobility or the electric batteries manufacturing is merged between a classic automotive industry and cutting-edge technology, supposedly semiconductor-based. So, what's the significance of the Northvolt 2 fab for us?
So, just like a couple of things, because just like you mentioned, right?
Yep.
Like battery manufacturing is like between different sectors, right? So it's forms some kind of like a synergy between like 4 different sectors. Let's put it this way, because from our side we have the automotive industry in Poland, like very important sector, like 500,000 people working in the sector, generally associated with the southern part of the country, and like with like currently like a huge part of the automotive, which is the manufacturing of the batteries, right? As Poland, we have the full supply chain, right, ranging from chemical production of the chemical materials such as anode, cathode, right, cells manufacturing, battery assembly, right, and then we talk generally about e-mobility, yeah, but then like in case of Northvolt here in Gdańsk, right, we should speak like rather about energy storage, right, which is like a broader concept, right? Hopefully, right, you enter into automotive soon, right, with your site in Gdańsk. But here, like, we talking about the our, let's say, Pomeranian environment, right? So definitely, like, when it comes to, let's say, energy storage solutions, of course, Northvolt is like a prime example. The only example, right? Of course, we have different players, different companies that provide other solutions for, let's say, e-mobility. For e-mobility, because we have companies that provide electronics, we have companies that provide chargers, and then you asked about different synergies between different sectors, and so here's like the assembly of energy storage systems, right? But hopefully soon we'll have we are already building, right, Robert, the R&D team, right?
Well,
when it comes to IT solutions, that's also integrated with our IT ecosystem in Tri-City. Then I don't know if you can say anything about the collaboration with local companies when it comes to providing electronics parts to your battery cells. Yeah, so that forms like a very let's say complex ecosystem that is being built right in here.
I think it's worth to highlight that, in fact, when we started in Gdańsk in 2018, we just started from industrial applications. So it's a kind of maybe not very high awareness out there about industrial e-mobility, because we started with production of battery systems and battery packs for industrial vehicles, for mining vehicles, for construction equipment, where the electrification is happening right now as we speak. So we can say that we have started somehow from the e-mobility applications, but focus on the industrial side, and probably in the common understanding, when we are talking about mobility, we are talking about electric vehicles, basically, right? Classic automotive sector, but yes, the revolution is happening on the industrial side, and we have started with the very small team. 5 of us was on the beginning, October 1st, 2018, when we have established our legal entity, Northvolt Poland. But almost from the very beginning, we knew that it won't be only manufacturing side. It will be also development. It will be also R&D for both product manufacturing processes, manufacturing engineering teams. So this is everything that we are doing already for quite some time. And today, I have a quite strong already, R&D team. Today, probably 25 people, 25 engineers focusing on systems, battery systems, R&D and development. Also around 23, 25 manufacturing engineering teams focusing on the process equipment development, production lines, and so on. But yes, Mikołaj, you mentioned about this IT R&D. It's a part of our Northvolt Global Scaling Services that we have announced, deployed just a couple of months, weeks ago. We have had the pleasure of kick it off together with you in January 2024. So it will be also kind of a service center in different areas like supply chain, procure to pay, finance, AP, AR, HR, but also IT. And I'm not talking about the simple ticketing, transactions, IT support, and so on, but also development. So part of this global scaling services is also R&D center for IT technology and developments to serve other than Northvolt 2, because Northvolt 2 is a part of Northvolt systems. And we have globally already 11 sites, some of them already operational, but some of them under development.
Yeah, it's a great thing that you mentioned the whole Northvolt ecosystem, because I was wondering what exactly is the role of Polish Northvolt plant in regards to the whole Northvolt operation globally. That's the first part of my question. And the second part, what about the supply chain of the Baltics? Because it's not a secret that the automotive industry, or even e-mobility industry, whatever you call it, is spread all around the Baltics. And that's also for you, a question for you, Mikołaj. What is where do we stand as a region and as a Poland in the supply chain of the cutting-edge technology industries for automotive cars? For autonomous cars or autonomous machines, so to speak. Example, forklifts and so on and so on.
Maybe I will take first, Mikołaj, if you don't mind. So basically, you ask about how important Northvolt Poland and our operation, our functions are here for the rest of Northvolt ecosystem. I would say every month, every week, more important and more important, because, as I mentioned, this global scaling services is a kind of the competence center. It won't be only focused on the transactional processes, but also business process ownership, mid long term. So basically, to serve our Northvolt at the north of Sweden, in Skellefteå, our first gigafactory, our headquarters in Stockholm, our Northvolt labs in Västerås, our joint venture with Volvo Cars in Gothenburg, or Northvolt Dry, the gigafactory that we are building in Germany, or Northvolt 6, our gigafactory in Canada. We have also Kuberg in San Francisco Bay Area, working on a fantastic new lithium metal chemistry, which is, by the way, a fantastic energy and power source for aviation, for electrical vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. Also other side. So basically, it will be more important going forward. And but also, that's true. When I remember, we've been performing the site selection, twice. The first one was like very early 2018, when we've been, the idea of building Northvolt systems, manufacturing and industrialization side, initially focused on battery modules production and those industrial battery systems. We've been looking for the many different locations, not only in Poland, but I'm so happy that at the end of the day we decided to do it in Poland. Gdańsk is my hometown, so but I was willing to relocate. Northvolt was and this fantastic development and really great organization, mission driven. So happy to brought it here to Gdańsk. But then when we started with rented facility, 5,000 square meters here in Gdańsk, and then 2 years later in 2020 we have performed the second site selection. When we have decided to expand our operations to serve the growing energy storage market, and taking the opportunity of the market momentum as well, and also enabling the transformation of the energy sector, enable the future of energy. So basically, during the second phase of the site selection, of course, there was some benefits, pros that we have had already the site here in Gdańsk. But we made a very deep analysis once again. And again, I mean, this location, Gdańsk, the proximity to the metropolis, the proximity to the educational sector, to the technical university, to Fahrenheit universities, and basically intermodal character of Gdańsk, access to the deepest container terminal on the coast of the Baltic Sea. So yes, we have built kind of the value chain around the Baltic Sea when it comes to not only Northvolt systems, but when you look at the map and the locations, you can see that there is something about this, and also it enables us to serve our. Initially, we have focused on the European market, but we are thinking globally, and that's why we are building other sites like this, Northvolt 6 in Canada. And maybe I will pause here, and then we'll hand over to you, Mikołaj, to say a few words around this.
Yeah, so that was Northvolt, and what about the other producers, the other companies, the other countries? Where is our place in the Baltics in terms of industry?
Well, generally, Poland is like the biggest producers of batteries in Europe, right? It's like the second
in the world
after China, right? So we have like the full supply chain, and of course, I don't know if we can talk about like regional markets or regional supply chains, or whether we should speak about the European supply chain, right? Like when you talk about Nordics, definitely, I think like Nordics are trying to promote themselves as a piece of Europe, right? That will be developing, or that is already developing, especially cells manufacturing, right? Because apart from Northvolt, there are companies such as Freyr, right? That is as well building their gigafactory in Norway, and some plans for Finland. And what Scandinavia has, right, is like access to very cheap renewable energy, right? So that's like the main point. Speaking of generally European, I would say European supply chain, right? So we'll have here in Poland like companies developing, like when it comes to cells manufacturing, chemical materials manufacturing, battery assembly manufacturing. So these projects are already here, and they will come and they will grow, definitely, right? So we'll be, I suppose, right, together with the Nordics, right, will be this kind of European hub for battery manufacturing, yeah.
Right, and I think that the time is shrinking, so that would be my last question. But once again, for both of you, and if you please, I will start with Mikołaj. What's the future of the industry? I mean, not only technological-wise, because I was hoping that Robert could tell us a little bit more about the newest technologies of developing the systems for batteries and production of batteries and so on at Northvolt. But what about the future of a supply chain? Is it possible to shift the hegemonia of the Asian countries in the newest technologies? Is it possible to shift their leadership in terms of the chemistry that is required for the industry?
Well, I think that much will depend on the technologies that we employ, and probably that's what Robert will just say a couple of words about that. But the other thing is simply like the trade regulations, right? So we already know that, of course, China helps, right? As the government, they help Chinese companies to export, right, and to dominate foreign markets, and that's simply like the policy that the Chinese have implemented, right, with big success, I believe, right? So much will depend on the EU policy on exports, on let's say imports from China. But we already see that, right, that we have like the growing interest of the Chinese companies that want to invest in Europe, right? So much will depend, I think, on the policy, right? Because it will be like the question whether we want to build our own, let's say, European champions such as Northvolt, or we want to have bigger or smaller part of the Chinese that will compete right here in the market. So I think it's like a very complex question. I think I haven't answered that like clearly, but yeah, I don't know, right? Actually, what like looking at the geopolitics now and at the trade frictions between different economic blocks, right? I rather see that as we'll be just closing the regional markets, right? So there will be more space for our local companies to develop, and especially taking into account, other technologies maybe than lithium ion, right? That needs so much of the of like cobalt, nickel, and other materials, right?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, you ask $1 million question, frankly speaking, when it comes to the technology, at least this technological part. And maybe I will start here, and the supply chain, maybe the second part. So basically, of course, absolute domination of the Asian players in the lithium-ion battery manufacturing, but also supply chain. So as I said already, Northvolt is a kind of a first alternative, because until 2016 there was no this scale player on the market out there, and we need more. I mean, the demand is growing very, very fast. Even though that we have maybe a small turbulence recently when it comes to the global economy and demand, maybe not such dynamic as we have planned a few years ago. But basically, the concept of Northvolt, the first European homegrown gigafactory of battery cells, and also delivering from Europe to Europe. And but this is on the kind of building a resilience for the European value chain and supply chain. This is where we are. We are trying to enable this. We are doing this with a full focus and the persistency to enable also transition of the industry and our economy, because everything what we are doing in fact is just to reduce the carbon footprint. Super important is especially when we are talking about the lithium-ion cells production together with upstream. Upstream, I mean this chemical part of preparation of cathode active materials. Those processes are very, very energy intensive. You need a lot of energy for doing that, for producing the cells. So that's why this is extremely important. What kind of energy do you consume to produce those batteries? And it was one of the reasons why we started the gigafactory in northern Sweden, where we have 100% of energy coming from the hydropower plants and the wind plants, 100%. And also very cheap. I mean, the cheapest energy in Europe, which is another factor super important as well for having a green and cheap competitive energy to produce the battery cells. When it comes to the technology, of course, for the applications like automotive, the chemistry and nickel, manganum, cobalt is one of the most popular because of high energy density, which basically I'm simplifying, translated into the range of the cars. But we have also last year announced the new chemistry of batteries. Those are not lithium-ion; those are sodium-ion. Where we need kind of abundant materials which are easy to access, like sodium, like iron, like carbon, like those one which we can find out there. And this sodium-ion technology is also more environmental friendly because we simply don't need those rare metals, those resources for lithium-ion batteries. And this, especially in the beginning for energy storage solution, the sodium-ion technology will be very, very promising. Maybe later on also for some electromobility application, but this is something that is really excited from the technology point of view. And stay tuned. Soon we will communicate more about the sodium-ion technology itself and how we will industrialize this as a Northvolt.
Well, hopefully your innovative approach will attract more and more innovators to come up with new cutting-edge technologies that can replace the focus on the Europe in terms of production of the battery cells. So I think our time is up. So thank you once again for coming. My guests were Robert Chryc-Gawrychowski from Northvolt and Mikołaj Trulin from Invest in Pomerania. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for all of you who listened to this episode, thank you for listening and stay tuned, because in the next episode we'll stay in Scandinavia, but we will be talking about the IT ecosystem of Pomerania. So thank you. That was Business Untied by Invest in Pomerania.